Okay.
Hare Krishna. I welcome all of you again to this second part of today's ACHARYA KESARI festival. And today, by the grace of our Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ji, we are celebrating the 125th appearance day festival called ACHARYA KESARI festival of our Param Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishtom Vishnupad Ashtot Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Srila Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ji. So today we have with us a very experienced sannyasi, disciple of our Shiksha disciple of our Gurudev, and not only of our Gurudev, but he is associated with 3 Mahabhagavats. So we are very fortunate to have him with us. He's a disciple of Pujapad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Ji Prabhupada, and then he is associated with another great Mahabhagavat, Srila Pujapad Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj Ji, and then with our Srila Gurudev, Pujapad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Ji. So today we have so much of experience with him, and we're going to hear from him about the glories of our Param Gurudev, about his divine character and life, how he has served his own Gurudev, about his Guru Nishtha and various aspects of his life. So let's all welcome Pujapad Bhaktivedanta Padmnabh Maharaj Ji. Dandavat Pranam Maharaj Ji, welcome on the program.
Dandavat Pranams. Can you see me in this lighting? Or
yes,
not so well?
we can see this fine. It's fine.
Okay, because I'm sitting next to the window where the light is streaming in.
It's nice, yes.
Eastern side, here in Navadvip Dham.
Yes.
And just so that you know, my veranda here is facing the temple of Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. Over the treetops, I actually can see the top spire of his temple.
Wow.
So it's a very auspicious location. And of course, here in Sri Keshavji Gaudiya Gurudev's temple in Navadvip Dham, Srila Gurudev's own samadhi is here. And alongside the samadhi of our Gurudev, then there are dioramas of each and every one of our line of acharyas, beginning with Srila Vaman Goswami Maharaj, then Srila Trivikram Maharaj, then my Guru Maharaj, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, then Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, all along that side. So every day in the evening after the evening artik, I go down to the samadhi of Srila Gurudev. I pay my obeisances to him, and I also pay my obeisances to my Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, whose murti is also there. And then I begin to circumambulate Gurudev's samadhi, and I pay my pranams, and I say the pranam mantras of each and every one of the acharyas all the way down the line. Then I circumambulate 4 times Srila Gurudev's samadhi. So I was thinking, oh, maybe I should just bring my Zoom call there and sit there. But there's a problem because of noise.
Yes.
And at any moment here, there can also be any loud noises because on the road below. So if that happens, then we'll have some disturbance. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jataha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam savadhutam parijana sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Bande Shri Gurun Dinatarana Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristai Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Nam Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristai Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswamin Iti Nam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Iti Nam Shri Krishna Lila Katane Sudaksham Audaurya Madhurya Gunaishcha Yuktam Varam Varenyam Purusham Mahantam Narayanam Tam Shirasha Namami Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Acharya Singha Rupane Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyana Kesava Iti Namani Ati Martya Charitraya Swasrita Nanchapalani Jiva Dukke Sadartaya Shri Nama Prema Pradaya Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namani Shri Varsavanavi Devi Dayatai Kripabdai Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayane Prabhave Namaha Madhurya Ujjvala Premadhya Shri Rupa Nuga Bhakti Da Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarane Rupa Nuga Virudhapa Siddhanta Dvantaharane Namo Gaura Kisharaya Sakshad Vairagya Murtaye Vipralamba Rasambodhe Padambujayate Nama Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namane Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gaura Virbhava Bhumestvam Nirdeshta Sajana Priya Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannathaya Te Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo 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 Mahabhadanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaura Tishe Nama He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Pancha Tattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Brindai Tulsi Debai Priyai Kesavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. First of all, I'm offering my unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable, beloved Gurudev, Nitya Leela Pravishta, Om Vishnupad Paramahansa, Ashto Tarasata Sri Shila, A.C. Bhaktivedanta, Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada. And then I'm offering my same unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Siksha Gurudevs, Nityalila Pravishtom Vishnupad Paramahansa, Ashtatarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshak, Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, and Nityalila Pravishtom Vishnupad Paramahansa Ashtatarasata Sri Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. On this blessed occasion that we are celebrating of the divine 125th appearance day of my Param Siksha Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa, Ashtotarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj. I'm offering my unlimited Dandavat Pranams at his lotus feet, and I'm requesting that he should shower his mercy upon me and all the viewers, that we can one day follow in his footsteps of absolute surrender to Sri Guru and unlimited seva to the lotus feet of Sri Guru as he has done in his divine life. And I pay my Dandavat Pranams to the lotus feet of all of my Sri Sri Rupa Nuga Guru Varga. And I pay my Dandavat Pranams to all the Vaishnavas and to all the Vaishnavis who are on this Zoom call. So I've been requested by our Ajay Prabhu to speak something in regards to the glories of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj. And in relation to his glories, of course, I have to also mention the glories of the personalities through whom I have my connection to him, and without whom I would not have my connection. First and foremost, that is my beloved Srila Prabhupada, who saved me from the endless repeated cycle of birth and death, and who gave me Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and so many important literatures. And he established the Krishna consciousness movement. But what was his relationship with Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj? Very, very important. How would I know how important was his relationship with Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj? I would not know unless I had come under the guidance and the shelter of my most worshipful beloved Siksha and Sanyas Guru, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, who told many, many things to us personally and in his lectures, and glorified his Guru Maharaj endless times. And not only that, he also wrote the biography, the authorized biography, ACHARYA KESARI, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj. And anyone that reads that biography they will understand who is this divine personality. And so through my Gurudev, and of course through other disciples of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, such as Srila Vaman Goswami Maharaj, Srila Trivikram Goswami Maharaj, and many other prominent Vaishnavas, I also heard his glories. And by associating with them, I began to feel that I'm actually meeting in person with Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. So although my eyes were not blessed to see him, but I definitely feel that my heart was unlimitedly blessed by his divine association through hearing his glories and through hearing his instructions, through hearing about his divine life and his pastimes. So, where to begin? First of all, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, he is the Sanyas Guru of my Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj. And how did that happen? There are some interesting stories, but it will take more time than I have here to actually tell those stories. But just in brief, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj was a very, very intimate god brother of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. Who witnessed this intimacy? My Siksha Guru, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj. He told us. He is the one who told us about his relationship with our Srila Prabhupada and his Guru Maharaj's relationship with our Srila Prabhupada. But one important thing is that once on the appearance day of Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, which happens in the month of Kartik, and this was many years ago, I think it was 1996 Kartik perhaps. And we were at Sri Rupa Sanatan Gaudiya Math. And our Srila Gurudev, Srila Narayan Maharaj was there, and he was presiding over the glorification and the worship of his Guru, of Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. And he requested me to stand and to speak about Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, and which I did, and tried to offer my Pushpanjali to him. And there were many devotees at that time in the room. And the devotees who were in the room, some of them had been initiated like me by Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and had also taken shelter of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and now were also taking shelter of Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj. And so Srila Gurudev, he asked a question to us. He says, can you tell me, why did my Guru Maharaj, why did your Guru Maharaj, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, why did he take Sanyas from my Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, and not from Pujapad Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj? So at that time, I had some understanding that I thought was somewhat correct to answer that question. But later I found that it was not correct. I tried to explain something that I had heard, that Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj had such an extensive, intimate relationship with our Srila Prabhupada when he was in his household life. And Srila Prabhupada had 2 houses in Calcutta, and he had his family in one house, and in the other house on the ground floor level, he had his pharmaceutical shop, which at that stage of his life was beginning to wind itself down by the will of Krishna. And it wasn't as successful as he would have liked, or his family members would have liked. But on the top floor of the second house, he reserved that place for giving shelter and hosting to various Gaudiya Vaishnavas who would come there. And Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, he was coming there on a regular basis because he would travel from Navadvip Dham, where his temple had been established here, Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat, and he would go there and stay in that apartment, and from there he would do preaching in Calcutta. So our Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, who was Abhay Charanaravinda Prabhu at that time, very, very intimately he associated with Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. And this is a well-known fact. Over a period of 10 or 11 years, they had so many intimate exchanges and a very, very intimate relationship, right? So, but our Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Swami, he considered Srila Sridhar Maharaj to be a Siksha Guru for him. He admitted that fact. He told that very fact. And so our Srila Prabhupada explained to his disciples many years later, when Srila Sridhar Maharaj came to Navadvip, to Mayapur, when Prabhupada first got his land there. And he introduced Srila Sridhar Maharaj in an assembly to his disciples. And he told his disciples that this is my most revered godbrother, Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. By age and by experience, he is senior to me. And then he began to tell about how he had such intimate exchanges with Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj over a period of so many years. And Srila Sridhar Maharaj was also remembering alongside with him. They were sharing their memories. So in this way, we understood that this personality, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, who is actually the Sanyas Guru of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, yes, we understood that he was a very intimate associate of our Srila Prabhupada. He was really the first god brother that we had really met of Srila Prabhupada, because we were always in the West and we never met any of his other god brothers, and we only knew our Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So now, fast forwarding again to that same meeting at Rup Sanatan, wherein Srila Gurudev, Srila Narayan Maharaj asked us, can you tell me, why did your Guru Maharaj take sannyas from my Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, and not from Pujapad Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj? So then I tried to give an answer based upon my poor fund of knowledge. I said, well, Srila Sridhar Maharaj had mentioned once that it would not have been so kind of appropriate for him to be the person to give sannyas. Why? Because he had lived with Prabhupada's family members and was very intimate with them over a period of 10, 11 years. So he somehow felt that would not be the most the most appropriate, right? So when Gurudev heard that answer from me, he said, no, that is not the reason. The reason why your Guru Maharaj took sannyas from my Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, is because their relationship was so intimate and so friendly relationship. He used the word friendly relationship. Now at that time, when we heard that, we thought, well, but also his relationship was so intimate and so friendly with Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. So we didn't quite understand that answer at that time. But after some time, then we began to understand this. Because we began to understand who is Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. What was his nature? Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, he was always talking to us later on in the 1980s, after our Srila Prabhupada left this world. Srila Sridhar Maharaj was giving darshans so much to Western devotees now who were coming to him. And he used to tell us that he said, my nature, what is my nature? I am a backward pushing man. He used that term, backward pushing man. And we thought, what is, because why? Because Srila Sridhar Maharaj did not have the nature and the temperament. He admitted himself that he wanted to always be in the foreground, but he preferred to be in the background and pushing everything from the back. And he told many other things about his nature. But what was the nature of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj? Why did he receive the title Lion Guru? Because his nature was very lion-like. Yes, very bold, extremely bold, never backing down in any case. And the nature of our Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj was also like that. Very bold, very, very ready for any challenge. And anyone can witness that if you observe his teachings and you listen and you see his. You observe his teachings and you also listen to his audios, how he preached, and especially his morning walk conversations. He would challenge the entire scientific community of the entire world, the atheistic science, and he would smash them. And then he would smash his disciples' arguments who were playing the role of the atheistic scientists. He had a certain number of scientist disciples, like Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj, PhD scientist. So he would have him on the morning walk and he would say, what do the scientists say about this? Then he would tell what the scientists say, then Srila Prabhupada would smash it. So there is no question that Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj's nature was so bold and so courageous and so daring, you see. So, but what was their intimacy of their relationship? That we never witnessed. Gurudev told us, when they were together, they were so friendly and so intimate. And they used to talk about how they are going to preach. And also at that time in Gaudiya Math, there were different factions and some persons had taken the properties and there were court cases and all of this. And both of these godbrothers, Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, they both, they wanted to kind of teach a lesson to the godbrothers. And at that time they had the periodical, the monthly magazine like that. So Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami, before he took sannyas even, he was living in Keshavji Gaudiya Math for some months. And he was also writing articles like this. And also Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj came and associated with our Srila Prabhupada when he was in Allahabad. And he had the pharmacy, Prayag pharmacy. And Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj came and intimately associated with him there during those years. There was some disturbance in Mayapur. So the point is that our Srila Prabhupada had this relationship with him. And he also had relationship with Srila Sridhar Maharaj, but Srila Sridhar Maharaj also told him, the mantra from Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the sannyas mantra is coming through me to him, to Bhakti Pragyan Keshav, and you can receive the same mantra through him. So that ceremony, why did that sannyas ceremony take place? And you know, our Gurudev, when he explained that to us about the intimate relationship, he also said, this line coming down, it is also there. He didn't explicitly say. What was he referring to by pointing upward and saying, this same anugatya is there? But he said he had to take sannyas from my Guru Maharaj because this anugatya is also there. And what is that anugatya? In the transcendental world, in the camp of Srimati Radhika. And they are both serving there. And there is particular anugatya. You know, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj came to visit Keshavji Gaudiya Math. And at that time, my Srila Prabhupada had entered into Vanaprastha life, still wearing white cloth. And he was very intimately associated with Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Raj. And Srila Narayan Raj would always tell him, oh, Prabhu, you are so learned and you are so senior. And your Guru Maharaj has given you this instruction that you should preach this message to the English-speaking world and all over the world. But you cannot do this. You must take sannyas to do this, to be able to do this. And he always, Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, he was always very reluctant. But when Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj came one day to visit Keshavji Gaudiya Math in Mathura, then Srila Narayan Maharaj also approached his Guru, oh Guru Maharaj, please try to convince him. So they had a meeting and they had a very intimate discussion. And Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj also told him, he says, Prabhupada has given to you this seva, that you must bring this message to the whole world in the English language. You cannot do this unless you take sannyas. You must take sannyas. So in that way, he agreed. And also there was one other god brother there who was a disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And his name was Sanatan Prabhu. He was in his 90s, early 90s. And he had retired from family life and he was now living in the mud. He used to be a businessman. So then Abhay Charanaravinda Prabhu told that, okay, if he also takes sannyas, then I will take sannyas. Or was it the vice versa? I've heard it both ways. He became Muni Maharaj, that's Sanatan Prabhu. And he said, okay, I will also take sannyas if he takes sannyas. So anyway, that sannyas ceremony took place on the Vishvroop Mahotsav day, which was the same day that Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj also received sannyas from Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj in Katwa. And my Srila Prabhupada received the name, the Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj. And there is the photo, the famous photo, where Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj is sitting on a chair, and on each side of him are the two new sannyasis, Muni Maharaj, and then to the left of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, to his left, then my Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, is standing with his danda. And if you look at that picture, and you look at the eyes of Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, his eyes are on fire. He is so serious. So I'm going to fast forward because also timing, yes. So the whole story about how my Srila Prabhupada now began to
Maharaj,
live.
we can extend time if required. Today I'm free. If you have
Today?
time. If you have time, you can extend if required.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
I have no work to after this. So.
Yes, okay. Okay. So then my Srila Prabhupada now gradually he began to reside in Vrindavan. And he stayed there at first there was a temple called Vamshi Gopal Temple near Yamuna, which he stayed for some time. And then after that, he moved to the Sri Sri Radha Damodar Temple of Srila Jiva Goswami, where the Samadhi of Srila Rupa Goswami Pad is there. His Bhajan Kutir is also there. So he moved there. And he began to work on his life work. That is to translate the Srimad Bhagavatam into the English language. And there he sat in his famous room, which are memorialized for all of eternity, that famous room where he would do his bhajan and write his books. And then across from the veranda, then there is his kitchen. And many, many times, your picture just disappeared.
Hare Krishna. Can you see me now, Maharaj?
Yeah, now I can see you. Okay. So, our Gurudev, intimately associated with Srila Prabhupada, while he was living at this Radha Damodar temple for a period of more than 3 years. And when he would come there, our Gurudev told us how he would sit and intimately have deep, intimate discussions with Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj. And he told us, he said, I saw how Niskinchan Vaishnava he was, with nothing, no possessions, not even a chadar to put on the stone floor and sit. So when I would come, I would take my chadar and I would put it on the floor and we would sit together. We would also cook in the kitchen together. And Srila Swami Maharaj, Gurudev used to call him very affectionately Swamiji. So Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj would roll the chapatis. Gurudev used to tell this fact. He would roll the chapatis. And then he would hand them to Srila Narayan Maharaj, and Srila Narayan Maharaj would put them on the fire and cause them to puff up, right? So in this way, they had a teamwork. And when Gurudev told us this, many years later, we thought about this, how that relationship was always there, that Srila Prabhupada had this intimate connection with Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj, who of course would later on be requested by him to help his disciples. And that is a whole story in itself. But in that early period, Srila Narayan Maharaj was playing the role of doing what? Taking the uncooked chapatis, putting them on the, what do you call that flat in Hindi?
Tawa.
Tawa, yeah. Put it on the tawa and then put it on the fire and cause it to become fully cooked, you see? So we use this analogy to compare to how Srila Prabhupada and Srila Gurudev worked together with us, who came under the guidance and the shelter of their lotus feet. And Srila Prabhupada taught us everything through his books, through his lectures, through his teachings. But there was still so much more. And that's why he asked Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj to also help his disciples after he disappeared from this world. And Srila Narayan Maharaj honored that request. And what did he do? Now he took the not fully cooked chapatis, namely all of us, and he began to complete the process. There is no doubt about it, that the contribution that Srila Prabhupada wanted Srila Narayan Maharaj to give, he has given to not just to us, to the whole world now. Because there were many, many more books and many teachings. And even Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj would also refer to this. This is the role of the Siksha Guru. The Siksha Guru is like Srila Sridhar Maharaj. Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj told the Siksha Guru system is a telescopic system. He used that analogy. And a telescope, as you know, it has multiple lenses inside of the telescope. One lens magnifies what the next lens, and then magnifies the next lens. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, who is my first Siksha Guru, he used to tell us like this, that the Siksha Guru's role is to take what the Diksha Guru has given and to deepen the understanding of the disciples in that. So that depth is unlimited. I remember Srila Narayan Maharaj, he used to say to me when I would come to him, because I was somewhat senior at that time, I came to him first of all in 1988. And from that time, I'm with him. But in the beginning, when he used to travel to the West and he would ask me to also speak in his festivals and in his lectures, to stand up and speak, he was training me. So he told me, he said, you understand all Siddhanta, but simply you need some fine tuning. And I said, no, Gurudev, I don't understand Siddhanta, all Siddhanta. He says, no, you understand Siddhanta, but you need some fine tuning. And then I began to reflect upon that. What is that fine tuning? It's everything. That fine tuning is to now enter into the deep moods of Rupa Nuga Bhajan, Rag Marg Bhakti, the whole mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and all the moods of the 6 Goswamis and all of our Acharyas. That is the fine tuning. So now when Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj came the first time to the Western countries, and he completed his tour in 1996, first of all going to Holland, then England. From there, he flew to Texas in the United States, and from there he flew to California. And we joined him in California, and I was requested to organize his West Coast tour of his first tour. And at that time, Gurudev did not have that many Western followers. But after his first tour, then they began to follow like bumblebees. Swarms of bumblebees began to follow him. So he went to all the different locations on the West Coast, about 6 different locations, all the way from Los Angeles up to Canada. And then from there, he flew to New York City as his last stop on this Western tour. And many of us also flew to New York City to also set up and make all the arrangements for his accommodations and for his preaching there. Srimati Shamarani Didi especially, she had so many contacts, and it's a long story, but finally we found one perfect house that Krishna arranged for his pure devotee, and Gurudev was given facility there. But on the second day after Gurudev's arrival, our Ramesh Prabhu, you may know from Costa Rica, he arranged a hotel room in Manhattan, in New York City, because Srila Gurudev wanted to visit the famous location of Srila Prabhupada's first storefront preaching center in America, which was on 26 2nd Avenue in the lower part of Manhattan. And also our Gurudev wanted to go to the park where Srila Prabhupada would preach publicly in the park and do kirtan. So that's a very beautiful story of how Gurudev came to the park. And you can also see the video because one of our godbrothers, Rasaraj Prabhu, and his good wife, they were on the tour, and they brought the first video camera. And the quality of the video, not very good, but nevertheless, we have a video of Gurudev's arrival in Tompkins Square Park, and also when he went to the storefront or the temple room. And so that event, it was the first and the only time that I had been to Srila Prabhupada's storefront temple that has been purchased by ISKCON or private devotees. So it is always going to be there for generations and generations. For hundreds of years, devotees will be able to come there and see the very first place. And our Gurudev, he always remembered that address, 26 Second Avenue. Why? Because he used to send all paraphernalia that was requested by Srila Prabhupada from India, including his books, cases of his books, that Gurudev had to complete the printing and the shipping and everything in Delhi. And he shipped them to that address in New York. Deities of Radha and Krishna, tilak, tulsi mala, kanti mala. And Gurudev also said that he requested the very famous milk sweet from Mathura called pera. And so Srila Gurudev received so many letters from Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada during that time period, and all through his Western preaching. So now, when we came to that 26 Second Avenue, and our Gurudev requested a few different devotees to first of all speak, but then he began his lecture. And why am I mentioning this? Because of what he told in his lecture about Srila Prabhupada and Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. And you can watch that lecture, it's on YouTube. So Gurudev, after offering his pranam and his Mangala Charana, he began to speak. But the first thing that he said was, and his eyes became filled with tears. And the first thing he said was, I am seeing like movie reels in front of my eyes so many times of my relationship with Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, like movie reels. Then Gurudev became choked up and he had to wipe his tears. And very soon, as he began to speak, he said, I have realized that my Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, and Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj are on the same level, the same platform, both of them. Then Gurudev addressed a common misconception that is there. Devotees coming from a certain Vaishnava institution that don't really know anything about Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, and they don't really know anything about his relationship with our Srila Prabhupada. So then Gurudev addressed, and pretty much he wanted to confront a misconception and correct it. So he said, some persons say that because someone can take sannyas, if someone wants to take sannyas, well, they must take it from another sannyasi. That is required. You cannot take sannyas from a grihastha or anyone else. It has to be from another sannyasi that you receive sannyas. But some persons think that this sannyas is only a formality. And the relationship between the sannyas guru, sannyas disciple, it is like a formal relationship. So he said, some people think like this, but they don't know anything. He said, sannyas is for Gopi Bhav. The sannyas mantra is for Gopi Bhav. And then he began to glorify the relationship between his Guru Maharaj and our Srila Prabhupada. So in this way, I wanted to tell this aspect, because without my Srila Prabhupada, I would never know Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. Maybe I would know his name, but actually our Srila Prabhupada wanted a picture of Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj to be sent to where? To America. How do we know that? Because it's in the letters of Srila Prabhupada wrote. And when he received the news of the Tirobhav, the disappearance, on that very day he received the news from Mathura. Who did he receive it from? From Bhaktivedanta Vaman Maharaj, Bhaktivedanta Trivikram Maharaj. He received this news, and when he received this news, he was staying in Seattle, Washington, the state of Washington in America, Seattle, city of Seattle, where there was a small preaching center at that time. And Srila Prabhupada organized. There's also there's an audio copy of Srila Prabhupada's lecture on that day. And he organized his disciples to write a letter, and each of the devotees to sign that letter, a letter of condolence to send to India on the disappearance. And we have that letter. So my Srila Prabhupada, he began to tell about his relationship with this Vaishnava personality, his godbrother, Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. He began to tell his disciples. And he admitted the fact. He told them directly that it is this godbrother who fulfilled the desire of my Guru Maharaj, my Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. He fulfilled his desire that I should take sannyas. How did he do that? He forcibly told me to take sannyas. I have unlimited regard for this godbrother who mercifully forced me. And then he also wrote a Sanskrit pranam mantra to Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, which is based upon the pranam mantra that Srila Raghunath Das Goswami wrote to Srila Sanatan Goswami Pad. Vairagya Yog Bhakti Rasam Prayatnaya Apayayan Mam Anabipsumandham Kripam Budhir Yak Paradukka Dukki Sanatanastam Prabhum Ashrayami. So here, Srila Prabhupada took the last part of that verse, where he says that he is an ocean of mercy. But he also took the first part from another shloka written by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Wherein Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is telling that vairagya and vidya, knowledge, vairagya vidya nija bhakti yoga sikshartam ekak purushak purana, that vairagya and vidya is what this personality, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, has come to teach what? His own bhakti. By teaching vairagya, detachment, and vidya, transcendental knowledge. Vairagya vidya nija bhakti yoga. Siksharkam ekak purushak parana. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sharira Dhari. Aham prapadye tamaham prapadye. I forget the last one. So in this way, we see that our Srila Prabhupada wrote this verse to tell how his Guru Maharaj was always. He told how his Guru Maharaj, was always how Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj was always giving mercy to him in the form of bestowing sannyas to him. And in the same way that Raghunath Das Goswami expressed that Sanatan Goswami was so merciful. He was an ocean of mercy, and he was always feeling sorrow for the suffering of the conditioned souls, paradukka dukki. And he forced me, vairagya yug bhakti rasam prayatnaya, to drink this bhakti rasa. He forcibly made me drink this bhakti rasa. So in this way, Srila Prabhupada told his disciples that this God brother has fulfilled the desire, and Prabhupada became very choked up. And tears came to his eyes. You can hear it in his voice. How much intimacy and love there was for this God brother. So, Srila Prabhupada then wrote his condolence letter, and all the disciples signed the condolence letter. And Srila Prabhupada told in that letter that I want that you will send a photo of Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. I want to put this photo in all of my temples. So this was in the very, very beginning of Prabhupada's movement, the first couple of years of his movement in the West. But somehow, for some reason, that did not happen. Although Prabhupada intended it. We have some of our own ideas why that may have been. But nevertheless, there was a plan by Krishna. And so ultimately, that plan came true because the intimate disciple of Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj, who had this intimate relationship with our Srila Prabhupada, he became the personality to bring the glories of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj to the West. I feel that unless the Western world would not be able to read his biography of Param Gurudeva, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, they would not understand him. They would not understand him. So, but nevertheless, Srila Prabhupada wanted that his picture should be there in the disciplic succession. So that has come true with those of us who have come under the guidance of Srila Bhaktivedanta, Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and all others. So in our disciplic line, in our Guru Parampara photos on the altar, there is always these pictures there. Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj, Bhaktivedanta Vaman Maharaj, then Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Prabhupada, then Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, then Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and others. So Srila Prabhupada, my Guru Maharaj, he did not have the situation that he could tell us about the life and the character, but because Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj wrote that biography, and because he told us of all the different pastimes. So I'm sure that in the course of the speakers coming in the file, you'll hear all these different pastimes, but I want to tell particularly one pastime, because actually two, since you said I'm not that limited for time. So one pastime he told. Actually, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj told this pastime. Srila Sridhar Maharaj came to the festivities of Gaur Purnima in around the year 1924, I think it was, around that time. And at the Sri Chaitanya Mat, the original headquarters of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and he came there to attend those festivities. He had met Srila Prabhupada in Calcutta, but not had much connection with him. But now he came and he met Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. But Srila Sridhar Maharaj told the story after the disappearance of Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, on Gaur Purnima Day, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, always, while he was in this world, he would come with his disciples to the mutt of Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat mutt, just to the left here. And he would, outside of the front gate on the road, he would pay his full Dandavat pranams, then he would enter the gate. And then he would go upstairs with his disciples to the seat, the chair where Srila Sridhar Maharaj would always be sitting. And then the two of them would intimately associate together. So every single Gaur Purnima, he would do that. Our Gurudev also used to do the same from here, from Keshavji Gaudiya Math. On Gaur Purnima Day, he would also go in the morning, in the early morning, and he would go and pay his obeisances at the Samadhi of Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, circumambulate his Samadhi and the temple, like that. So, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, after the disappearance of Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, the disciples, Bhaktivedanta Maharaj, Srila Narayan Maharaj, and the others, they all came in a group to honor Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj as their guru had done. So Srila Narayan Maharaj told the story that when they came there and they all sat in front of Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, he very mercifully gave his darshan and spoke so many things. But one of the things that he told them how he first met, the very first time that he saw this personality, who was named Vinod Bihari Brahmachari, who later became Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj. First time was at Chaitanya Mat. And where was it? At Chaitanya Mat, right next to the house of Srila Prabhupada, where there is a jackfruit tree. To this day, the same jackfruit tree is there. And when I go there, I always tell the story, sitting under that jackfruit tree, I tell the story to the devotees who are with me. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj remembered. And he said that when Srila Sridhar Maharaj entered into the front gate, and he came there, he came into the open area there. But what did he see? He said in all directions he saw preaching, like beehives. Like there were different groups, some places sannyasis, some places brahmacharis, and crowds of people sitting around them and preaching in all directions. He said it was just like a big beehive. So then he said that then he saw something that was quite unusual. He couldn't quite understand what was going on. Why? Because under this jackfruit tree, there was a wooden table and there was a chair. And seated on this chair behind the table was a white-clad personality who was actually brahmachari, but he was wearing white cloth because, why? Because he was doing so much important seva for Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and doing all management seva and interacting with tenants and so many things. So he chose to remain in white cloth as a brahmachari. So in India, those of you who are from India, you know that the culture of someone who is saffron cloth is that generally they are the person who the white cloth persons are giving pranams to and like that. But in this case, this white-clad person was sitting on the table, sitting on the chair in front of the table, and his feet, both of his feet, were resting on the table. And he was kind of leaning back in the chair with his eyes kind of closed. And then in front of the table were standing very reverentially and very respectfully saffron-clad persons, brahmacharis, even sannyasis, and they were waiting to speak with this white-clad person. So naturally, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, at that time, he was a little bit, he thought it was quite strange, quite odd. So what happened was he then, Srila Sridhar Maharaj asked someone, who is this person wearing white and all these sannyasis and brahmacharis? And then that devotee told him, oh, that personality is Vinod Bihari Brahmachari. He is one of the most intimate servitors of our Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, and it is he who is managing all the Gaudiya mutts everywhere, all throughout India, and taking care of all of this seva. So then Srila Sridhar Maharaj, that impression came into him. That was the first time he met. Of course, after that, he met Vinod Bihari Brahmachari many, many, many times and had intimate relationships with him. So this is the nature of Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj in his Brahmachari years. He was the absolute sevak. Now, how do we know that his service to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was absolutely selfless and absolutely pure, 1,000,000%? How do we know? Well, Srila Sridhar Maharaj also used the example of the famous incident that took place here in Navadvip Dham during the Gaur Purnima Navadvip Dham festivities, where there was hundreds and hundreds, maybe a couple thousand of pilgrims who were all doing the Navadvip Dham parikrama. And on an elephant were being carried the deity of Mahaprabhu. And there was procession. And when they came near to the famous center place of Navadvip, Prodhamatala, the place where Lord Shiva and Yogamaya Devi have their temples there side by side. So at that juncture point, there was an incident that took place which came by surprise. Now, one thing that has to be understood is that the preaching of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada was the supreme lion-like preaching of any of our acharyas. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was always confronting the cheating mentality of these so-called smarta brahmanas and the different persons who are looking after the holy places, but their mentality is material gain, material fame, all of these things. And not only that, but Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all of our acharyas, they showed the example that the process of giving diksha to the conditioned souls is not limited to only giving diksha to a brahmana, or a brahmin giving diksha to a brahmana, or not giving diksha to a non-brahmana. These are all coming from the caste system. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu completely destroyed that. How do we know? Because he accepted Namacharya Haridas Thakur as the Nam Acharya, the highest representative of the chanting of the holy names. And he was born in Muslim family, not even caste, you see. And Rupa Sanatan, who were the servants of the Muslim magistrate, Nawab Hussain Shah. They had left that position, and they always felt themselves to be fallen because they were so intimately associated with the Muslims. Mahaprabhu accepted all. That is the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There is no caste system accepted whatsoever. It is by qualification. As Krishna says, Chaturvarnya Maya Shristam Guna Karma Vivahasha. By guna, by quality, by karma, by the ability to work, to do any kind of activity, then you can be designated as a Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, like that. So, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had been so confrontational. And these lowly personalities conspired that they wanted to kill Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Can you believe that? The topmost Paramahansa Mahabhagwat on the planet, and they want to kill him because of their ulterior materialistic motives. So what happened? they conspired, and they also paid police as well, some bribes. And then when the party came, because Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was walking in front of the party with his Tridanda, and right next to his side was Vinod Bihari Brahmachari, who was walking next to his Guru Maharaj. And suddenly, from all directions, from the rooftops surrounding that place, all kinds of rocks and stones and sharp objects like pieces of glass and so forth were hurled, thousands of pieces in all directions. And so what happened was all of the people of that area who were in that area, all the pilgrims, they just scattered in all directions. But what did Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, Vinod Bihari Brahmachari do? He immediately, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj described this pastime to us. He said his mind and his intelligence was so quick. He immediately saw the situation. He immediately shielded his Gurudev, took him forcibly into an open doorway that was right near that place, because he knew the person whose house that was. And there he brought Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur.
Oh, Hare Krishna, Maharaji.
Then at that time, when they were inside of the house, then Srila Vinod Bihari Brahmachari requested Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, please give me your sannyas vesh. I will wear that, and I will give you my cloth, and then we will arrange for you to secretly be taken back to Mayapur. And the thing is that Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj had some similarity also in facial features to Srila Prabhupada. So he took that cloth and he risked his own life to save the life of his Guru Maharaj. All the disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they know this fact about him. And all of them glorified him. But this was just like the emblem. This was the symptom of his nishta, his Guru nishta, his absolute service to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And so such a personality, such an intimate servitor of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he is actually also responsible for the spreading of the Krishna consciousness movement throughout the world, because he gave sannyas to the person who would do that and was the intimate supporter and godbrother. And then later, the disciple of his, Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, would again come to the West and tour the entire world for 15 years, 32 world tours. And he would give all the necessary books for the next 10,000 years and beyond, that all the Gaudiya Vaishnavas will need. He gave the full completion of the mission of Srila Prabhupada for the whole world. Here is now the syllabus, here is the education, and here are the teachings. And he lectured everywhere to make certain and very clear that everyone will understand the deep moods of Gaudiya Vaishnavism in the Rupa Nuga Guru Varga. And what is Ragmarg Bhakti? What is Braj Prem? What is Shrimati Radhika's Unnata Ujjvala Prem Ras? What is the mood of the servitors of Shrimati Radhika? All of these intimate details, our Srila Prabhupada did not have the time to give them. He had to focus on making the foundation. When Gurudev came to the West, we heard him say this so many times in the first few years. He would say, Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, he has given the foundation, but he had to spend most of his time doing what? Cutting jungles. Because if you want to clear an area to build a big structure, you have to clear that area from all the trees and the jungles and everything. So in the same way, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had to also clear the jungles of what? Of Mayavadism, of impersonalism, voidism, Buddhism, all other Sahajiyism, Prakriti Sahajiyism. So Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, he also did like that in his preaching, the lion guru, and confronted all the misconceptions. And then our Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, he had to spend his full time, 12 years in the West, to educate. And his lectures had to be addressed to a general, younger audience, younger devotees, because always, year by year by year, there were hundreds and hundreds of people all over the world, all devotees joining his mission, living in his temples. So he had to educate. He could not come onto the explanation of Rupa Goswami, the difference between Raganuga Bhakti and Vaidhi Bhakti. He simplified everything. But he knew that the personalities, the Rupanuga Vaishnavas of this line, they will definitely make this very, very clear in the future. And chief of those personalities, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj knew very well what is his status, his caliber. He knew that. And that's why he called him to his bedside. And that's why he requested him to perform his samadhi with his own hands. And that's why he requested him, please help my disciples. So Srila Gurudev, we were with him on all of his tours throughout the world for 15 nonstop years. And I consider that he is the gift of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj to the whole world. Because in 1995, when Gurudev's Venu Geet was about to come out, this is 1 year before Gurudev went to the West. So I had a suggestion to him because his English book, Venu Geet, which was coming from his English talks, it was now being edited in Vrindavan. And I came to Vrindavan in the month of May, I think it was. And at that time, some of my godbrothers, Tirthapada Prabhu, Pran Kishore, and others, they were trying to edit the manuscript. And they asked me to help edit the manuscript. So then I did. They found that there were many places they couldn't quite understand what Srila Narayan Maharaj was trying to express, because his English at that time was not as good as it later on became. So what I did was I began doing corrections. And then I took those corrections to Mathura. I was in Vrindavan and I went to Mathura and I showed them directly to Srila Narayan Maharaj. And I said, Srila Gurudev, this is what you said in your manuscript. It says, this is your words, and this is how I've corrected your words. And then Gurudev said, yes, that is what I wanted to say. Yes, tell me the next one. Tell me the next one. So I went through like 20 different corrections. And I was using, what do you call it? I was being liberal, because I was putting words there that I knew that Gurudev did not have, but he would have wanted those words in English to come there, because his vocabulary is not so complete. And later on, he would also admit that to us many, many times. And he would tell us, you should teach me so many English words like this. So anyway, I did those corrections and he approved of all of them. He said, yes, yes, I want that you will edit the whole book. Then I asked Gurudev, I said, Srila Gurudev, now that this English book is coming out in the West, and it was one of his first English books to come out in the West, and especially it was his first one from his English lectures, Venu Geet. So then I said, the whole world, we should put some section inside of we should put in a section in the back of the book, which is called About the Author. Because this way, the people who are going to read your book, they can know. And it will be devotees, and many devotees from ISKCON and many other places. So I think that it would be a very good idea for us to write something about you and your life and your relationship with our Prabhupada and your Guru Maharaj and all of that. So something about the author. And then Gurudev, he said, yes, okay, you can write 2-4 lines like that. And then I said, so Srila Gurudev, how would you like me to explain what your relationship is with our Srila Prabhupada in that, about the author? Because that will be one of the sections about your life and your contributions and everything. And then he told me, he says, because I told to Gurudev, I said, you refer to our Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj as your Siksha Guru. Sometimes in the beginning of your lectures, when you're lecturing to Western people, you also refer to him as being one of your Siksha Gurus. So then I asked him, do you want me to mention that? How do you want me to mention your relationship with our Srila Prabhupada? And then Gurudev told me, he said, yes, I accept Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj as one of my Siksha Gurus because he was so senior and superior to me. But I received all things from my Guru Maharaj. And then I understood. We knew that Gurudev is a perfected personality. And he received everything from his perfected personality, Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. And he had so many other Siksha Gurus amongst the disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He had many Siksha Gurus. And our Srila Prabhupada Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj was one of them. But he had a particularly intimate, friendly relationship with our Srila Prabhupada. It was very, very special relationship. Even more so than his relationship with many others, but he had many Siksha Gurus. So he wanted me to know that like we are coming to him as Siksha Guru, but we have so much more that we have to understand and learn and everything. But he was not in that situation at all. So our Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj knew everything about this Narayan Maharaj personality. He knew. And so the gift of our Srila Prabhupada to us after his disappearance was Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj, and the gift of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj to the whole world is Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj, Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj, Bhaktivedanta Trivikram Maharaj, and so many other of his intimate, exalted disciples. So we have an intimate relationship with Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. He is my Param Siksha Gurudev, in my case. But also, he is so worshipable to me because I have also received Sanyas in this line coming from Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj, and to me, this lowly, very, very unqualified personality, this lowly soul, myself. So therefore, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj is also my Param Sanyas Guru. And in this way, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, in the latter part of his life, our Gurudev remembers that Srila Param Gurudev, he was so internally absorbed prior to his disappearance from this world. Srila Gurudev used to tell us he was so much internally absorbed. Barely he was even bathing at all. He was just completely internally absorbed. And some time when we would arrange a lota with warm water, and we would arrange for him, and then he would just pour that one lota over, and most of the water would not even touch his body. Gurudev told us this pastime many times. Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj was so exalted, and he is intimate servitor of Srimati Radhika. And he is the personality through whom this mood of Radha Dasyam is coming down, and also from Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, and also from the disciples, our intimate Siksha Gurus in the line of Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. So we are so indebted to him. And one last memory, Srila Gurudev writes the story in his biography that when the Devananda Gaudiya Math was under construction, that is in the 1940s, I think, 1940s. So then they were beginning to construct the altar. And Gurudev tells the story that a few disciples and also Param Gurudev were there. And Param Gurudev was instructing that the altar should be built with 3 steps. 3 steps. One step should be blue color. One step should be yellow color. And one step should be reddish color. And then he began to explain that the first step, bluish color, is to represent Shri Krishna. And the second step, golden yellow color, is to represent Srimati Radhika. And then he paused and he didn't say. And then he didn't say about the third step. And now he became somewhat choked up, actually. And then they requested, Guru Maharaj, and what should we understand about the third step? And then he told this third step, reddish color, is representing their very dear, intimate servitor of the lotus feet of Srimati Radhika. And he became too much choked up. He did not speak anymore. At that time, they understood that he was referring to his own self. So Vinod Manjari, he is that divine personality who has come down into this world as the most intimate servitor of Srila Prabhupada Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who would send this message to the whole world. And he personally served him practically as the most intimate servitor of all of the disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He had many exalted disciples, but Vinod Bihari Brahmachari, who later became Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, he was amongst the most intimate. And he established the Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti when everything had stopped, all the parikramas of the printing presses. When the Gaudiya Math had split after the disappearance of Prabhupada, he restarted everything. And my Guru Maharaj, when he was still in household life, as Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Prabhu, he became connected with Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj as one of the 3 founders of Gaudiya Vedanta Samiti. So in this way, you know, there's so much to say. And I'm so happy to have had this opportunity and also to be granted an extension of speaking time. So I thank Ajay Prabhu for doing this seva to the lotus feet of Param Gurudev and Gurudev. And I hope that the 125th celebration of the appearance day of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj next week will be celebrated in the most wonderful way. But this is the build-up now to that great, wonderful event, which certainly here in Navadvip Dham, we will certainly go to his samadhi on that day and pray there. And we will visit Prabhupada's samadhi, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada in Mayapur and all on that holy day. So my Dandavat pranams to all the Vaishnavas, all the Vaishnavis, and to our Rupanuga Guru Varga. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhu bhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo.
Thank you, Maharaji. Thank you so much. Today, we all are so fortunate to hear from such exalted devotee of our Guru Maharaj. We were so much benefited. Not only we heard about Param Gurudev, but we heard about 4 or 5 acharyas, characters, all intermingled with each other very beautifully. And one thing I want to say about Puja Maharaji, it is very important that what association we have in bhajan, because association is the basis of our bhajan, which side we are going to go, how we are going to go. In this regard, Maharaji has been very, very, I would say, intelligent. Not only him, but along with him, many other, his Guru Bhai, Guru Bhan, that he has always kept very good association. Not all people have done like this. There are so many disciples of Puja Swami Maharaj Ji who had gone against the Gurudev also. So it is a big Mahaparad. But Puja Maharaj Ji has been so fortunate, and it was not very easy. What decisions he has taken in life, they have been very difficult decisions, because he was at the head of ISKCON organization. He was one of the leading members, and he gave all that up just for good association. So we must appreciate this thing. Bhajan in our life, we must follow his footprints. How association matters more than anything else, more than what our position is, what facilities are we getting. Maharaj was very comfortable in ISKCON, and he had all the big office and facilities and everything. He would have been probably a member of GBC, I think. But he gave all that up only to associate with the Mahabhagavat. And that is what it should be. And he has associated with Puja Sridhar Maharaj and our Gurudev. And it's not very easy, I must say. Not only him, but many other, like Puja Shamarani Didi and other disciples of Swami Maharaj. But still, there are a whole lot of them, like more than 80%, who are not thinking like this, what he is saying, and still they are committing offenses in our Gurudev's lotus feet. So they must come out of this at least now and appreciate what these Mahabhagavat actually are, from which world they are living, what they are meditating on, and how they are thinking good for everybody. Look at Maharaj, what he said. His Gurudev, on his last days, he was still thinking of his disciples, how my disciples could be benefited. In his mind, he was so much Vatsalya. And then for that reason, he called our Gurudev and told him, please look after them. So this is how a Guru is. He will look after a disciple like him. He's got love of 1,000 mothers in him. So even on this last day, he's thinking of how my disciples should be benefited. And those who took his advice, like Puja Maharaj Ji, they are benefited for sure. And those who have not, they are committing offenses, very difficult for them. So very nicely, we heard so many nice leelas and tattva today about our Lion Guru, Param Gurudev, how bold he was, about Puja Sridhar Maharaj, about Puja Swami Maharaj. So Maharaj, it's been really, thank you from the bottom of my heart for giving such beautiful Hari Katha. And we will invite you more often. Very difficult to get in touch with Maharaj, but
one thing I want to say is that I've also been invited by Ajay Prabhu to tell much more extensively about my experience in my life. I'm planning to also fulfill his request. And I want to do this for many years. I want to actually write my own autobiography, because my 3 Mahabhagavat gurus, I want to glorify them, and I want to explain everything about their glories. And just like you're telling, that so much opposition was there, both to Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj also. But I want to correct the record, and I want to have this as an actual document, because I was eyewitness to all of what went on in the 1980s and so forth, and later on, for up to the present day, practically. So I do plan to do that. I don't know exactly how you plan to do it, maybe in the same way like this, but I'm going to do that. And but I want to correct one thing that you said. I was not a very big leader in ISKCON. I was not a big leader, although I was a temple president in ISKCON. But at that time, we're talking about 1984, when I left the institution of ISKCON because of the great offense that they had committed against Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And that story I will explain. But I'm just a very small person, and I'm just trying to get the association of pure Vaishnavas. And they have been very, very merciful to me. And although my Srila Prabhupada, I had his association for 7 years, but we were not so fortunate to have that intimate association all the time. Just periodically we would be with him. But, and with Srila Sridhar Maharaj, I was actually in household life. First, I was in Brahmachari when I first met him in 1979, and then in 1984, 85 again, then I met him. And then I was in household life at that time. And so I was not able to be with him so much physically, but I have very, very deep impressions of the time that I did spend with him. But with Srila Narayan Maharaj, all my heart's desires were completely fulfilled to have this direct personal association and direct service for years and years on end, about 20 years, and 15 of those nonstop going all around the world. So I consider this simply to be causeless mercy on me. I'm not a highly qualified person or devotee, and my bhakti is on a very basic level, but I know that if I follow the teachings of my three gurus, then definitely the result is going to come in the near future. So that's my...
Yes, so just to let you know, we've been doing this program, Fond Memories of Srila Gurudev, for last around 3 years. And I've been trying to look for Maharaji for last 3 years continuously, because I know he has a treasure of memories and experience also, which can benefit the whole world. But I got hold of it, not directly even this time.
No, he cornered me the other day.
I got hold of him by chance because I was talking to Sripad Sroti Maharaji, and his room happened to be next door to him.
Yes.
So that is the way I got hold of. Otherwise, very difficult to catch him. But now I think he's happy with us. He'll bless us.
Yes.
And I requested him to speak about Gurudev. I said there are 2 hours, 3 hours, you can speak, 4 hours. He said that is too short for me. I need 7 days. But I always give chance to anybody who wants to speak as much about Gurudev. So Maharaj, I promise you'll get 7 days or maybe 10 days if you want. We can do it continuously, no problem. But we want to hear everything about Srila Gurudev and about Pujapa Swami Maharaj and about our Acharyas, their very elevated life, their very elevated character, which we can follow and perfect our life also. So Maharaji, thank you on your lotus feet. Thank you so much for being with us. Then the pranams to you. Shri Guru Maharaj ki jai, Srila Param Guru Dev ki jai, Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrand ki jai, Pujapad Bhaktivedanta Padmnabh Maharaj ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari.
Hi, Gaur Premanande, Ansha Kalpachuruvascha, Kripa Sindhudevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo.